Everyone's calling the LG G5 OLED the king of brightness, and on paper, the numbers are massive, with LG claiming up to 4000 nits. And after testing this TV with everything, I can tell you that while this is arguably the best TV for a bright living room, it's not without some frustrating quirks that you need to know about before you drop over 2 lakh rupees on it. You're looking at a 4K OLED panel running native 120Hz refresh rate that can boost up to 165Hz for PC gaming. It's powered by the new Alpha 11 Gen 2 AI processor and supports Dolby Vision, HDR10 and HLG. For connectivity, you get 4 full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 ports with G-Sync and FreeSync support, plus Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.3 inside. Audio is handled by a 4.2 channel 60-watt system with Dolby Atmos. And the whole thing runs on WebOS 25, which LG promises to update for the next 5 years. So that was the hardware. Now let's see what it actually does. Let's address the brightness first. We threw on this scene from Hijack. Look at the sun reflecting on the water. On previous OLEDs, this would look bright but maybe a bit flat. On the G5, the new 4-layer tandem OLED panel, reflection actually made me squint. It is piercingly bright. But raw brightness isn't everything. In this night flare scene from 1917, watch how the G5 handles the transition from pitch black to blinding white. The contrast is infinite with zero blooming. However, if you look really closely at the shadow transitions in the ruins, it's good, but it's not quite the reference level we expected. We noticed that to get those crazy high brightness peaks, the TV sometimes sacrifices a tiny bit of subtle shadow details compared to its Sony rivals. Now, a quick warning. Out of the box, the TV was pushing brightness so hard it was actually blowing out the details. After the latest firmware update, LG actually lowered the peak brightness slightly in accurate modes to save detail. You lose a bit of pop, but you stop losing information in the highlights. Now, let's talk color. The G5 uses OLED panel, which adds a white subpixel to boost brightness. In this scene from La La Land, the twilight sky and the yellow dress looks fantastic and punchy, and most people are going to love it. However, when we switch to The Martian, pay attention to the deep reds of the landscape. Because the TV is using that white subpixel to drive brightness, very bright colors can look a little diluted compared to the QD-OLED panels from Samsung or Sony. It's not washed out by any means, but if you are a color purist looking for that deep saturated crimson at high brightness, the G5 trades that saturation for raw power. Now, OLEDs live and die by their shadows. In this campfire scene from Severance, look at the faces. The G5 renders the skin tones naturally and the firelight flickers without crushing the blacks in the background. It's moody, atmospheric, and exactly what you'd buy an OLED for. But again, it's not flawless. In extremely low light shots like this scene from The Revenant, if you sit close, you might spot some very faint banding in the gray gradients. Essentially, the TV is struggling to smooth out transitions from almost black to just perfect blacks. It's minor, but for premium TV, it's there. On a lighter note, upscaling is excellent. Watching the Friends remaster, the TV handles the film grain perfectly. It doesn't try to scrub it away and make everyone look like wax figures. It respects the source, and that's really important. Now, when we first tested the G5, the input lag at 165Hz was actually worse at 120Hz. Thankfully, LG fixed this with a firmware update. Input lag is now down to a snappy 4 millisecond. Motion in Top Gun Maverick is buttery smooth, but if you sit closer than 4 feet from the screen in game mode, you might notice faint diagonal lines on solid colors, which is an artifact caused by how the TV drives the pixel so hard. From the couch, you won't see it, but from your desk, you just might. And finally, the audio. The speakers are surprisingly decent for a flat TV. But here is the massive red flag for physical media collectors. The LG G5 has dropped the DTS audio support. Now, if you watch a lot of Blu-rays that use DTS soundtracks, this TV will not play that audio through its internal speakers. You must have a soundbar or receiver that can decode it externally or set your player to convert it. It's a cost-cutting move that feels out of place on a flagship TV. So, is the LG G5 the best OLED TV that you can buy? Well, if you have a bright room and want a TV that looks like a piece of art on your wall, absolutely. The brightness is real, the gaming features are top tier, and the design is stunning. But if you're a purist who cares about maximum color volume and legacy audio support, you need to look at the QD-OLED competition, specifically the Samsung S95F or the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II series. Unlike the G5, those TVs use quantum dots to keep colors fully saturated even at peak brightness rather than relying on a white subpixel that dilutes the colors to get to that brightness. Now, the LG G5 is a muscle car. It's loud, fast, and incredibly bright. But if you want the absolute most color-accurate signs for a dark home theater, those QD OLEDs are still the ones to beat. Choose the G5 for the living room, choose the QD OLEDs for the cinema room. Just make sure you know how to handle it. So that was our review of the LG G5 OLED. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for watching.